today's training topic is on cleaning validation in pharmaceutical. So first of all, we will discuss about what is cleaning validation, what is the significance of the cleaning validation, and why the cleaning validation is required in the pharmaceutical company. So first of all, let's have a discussion on the cleaning validation definition. So what is cleaning validation? So cleaning validation is a documented evidence with a high degree of assurance that one can consistently clean a system or a piece of equipment to predetermined and acceptable limits. The objectives of the GMP including the prevention of the possible contamination and cross contamination of the pharmaceutical starting materials and the products. So basically the every product we manufacture in the premises in the GMP shop floor or the manufacturing area is required to be manufactured under some clean environment, and for the clean environment it is required to have all the utensils used in the manufacturing of a batch or a product are required to be cleaned properly. So just to get the assurance of that the utensils or the equipments are properly cleaned, we require to perform a cleaning validation. So here we will discuss about the significance and the requirements of the cleaning validation. So what is the significance of the cleaning validation? To attain documented evidence which provides a high degree of the assurance that the cleaning procedure can effectively remove the residue of a product and cleaning agent from the manufacturing equipment to a level that does not raise patient safety concern. So basically the cleaning is required just to remove all the residues, all the previous product residues we may say, and other things so that the cross contamination, to avoid any cross contamination, everything. So it is basically a evidence, documented evidence, as well as the physical exercise we do for equipment or the utensils in the manufacturing and other associated areas. So cleaning validation is a documented process that proves the effectiveness and consistency in the cleaning of the pharmaceutical production equipment. Validation of the equipment cleaning procedures are mainly used in the pharmaceutical industries to prevent the cross contamination and adulteration of the drug product. Here, hence, it is critically very important. So in this you will find some current GMP requirement. This slide being taken from the TGA, Therapeutic Goods of Australia, that is the TGA guideline being which is adopted by the Australian FDA. So here you will find that they have divided it into the two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 2 they accommodate all the things of the APIs including the cultures and fermentation. In part 1 they are confined to only the personal premises equipment, documentation, production, quality control and manufacturing analysis. But for the part 2 they have including all the things: personal, building facilities, process equipments, cleaning materials management, production, process controls, packaging, cleaning validation, everything being included in the part 2. And the relative annexures are there: 1 2 3 6 7 8 9 10 13 15. These are the annexures which are directly having relation with the cleaning of all the utility utensils and the manufacturing and other associated equipments. So PICS guideline also refers the same as we have taken the reference of these guidelines while preparing this PPT. So why the cleaning validation is required in the pharmaceutical? Next question is so pharmaceutical product can be contaminated by a variety of the substance, as we all know, such as the contaminants associated with the microbes, previous products, or excipient or maybe API, residue of the cleaning agent, airborne materials such as dust or particulate matter, lubricants. Adequate cleaning procedure play an important role in the preventing contamination and cross contamination. So as I told earlier, why the cleaning is required? Cleaning is required just to reduce and to remove all the contaminants like microbes and the traces and the residue of the previous product, API or maybe excipient, and even the cleaning agent we use like T-pol or anything that may be used for the cleaning of the equipment or the utensils, that may also be stain over there, that may also have some residue over the equipment or the utensil. So it is also required to clean it thoroughly and remove from the surface of the utensil or equipment. So this is the basic requirement why the cleaning validation is required in pharmaceutical. If the traces of the previous product or may say cross contaminant like microbes, or we may say any detergents residue or anything, if remains there, then definitely that will contaminate the next product we are going to manufacture in that facility in these utensils or equipment. So it is mandatory and it is necessary required to have the proper cleaning of the all the utensils or manufacturing equipment before we go for the next batch production. So, a few of the advantages of the cleaning validations are assurance of the quality and safety. Government regulations also recommends that few of the regulatories first of all ask for the cleaning methodology. How do they clean? Our cleaning SOPs being asked by the regulatory agencies. How do we clean? How we validate our cleaning? So, regulatory requirements are there. Product integrity is also main concern. You have the confidence over the product if the cleaning is proper validated, then you have the confidence over the product. The manufactured product manufactured in the site on the site is you are much confident about that, that is properly properly without any contamination or without anything it being manufactured in the premises. Microbial integrity is there, then the cross contamination integrity is there, batch integrity is there, equipment reuse integrity use requirement there, reduction of the quality cost is there, making good business sense. Naturally, if the you are having the good cleaning practice in shop floor, then naturally there will be less market complaints and you will get good business too. So less downtime, fewer batches failures may operate as I told. If the market complaint is there, then definitely your business will be lose. So you require to have perform a complete cleaning of the all the manufacturing or equipments or utensils. So cleaning mechanism need to discuss here. Several basic mechanisms exist in removing the residue from the equipments, including few are there. The mechanical actions is there. By brushing, by scrubbing, or by pressurized water, we generally try to remove the traces of the previous product. So brushing we do, scrubbing we do, and sometimes the pressure water being applied to the utensils and the equipment for the removing of the residue. So sometimes the dissolution involves the dissolving residue is a suitable solvent. The most common and the practical solvent is water, which is generally being used and having the being inert in nature, being used for the cleaning, and it has more than many more advantages while we performing the cleaning with aqueous or we may say water. However, in some cases it may be preferable to use a non-aqueous solvents or or a combination of both aqueous and non-aqueous solvents due to the solubility characteristics of the material. So alkaline or acidic solvents examples can be taken and can enhance the dissolution of the material and could be advantageous. So sometimes you require to select a solvent based on the previous product you had manufactured over there. If it is required to just go for the in detail the previous product study you are having, that it will be clean with the alkali or it will be clean with the acid, so you require to have proper cleaning of the previous product. So you may use different type of the cleaning agents for removing all the traces of the previous product from the utensils or the equipment. So why the mainly the detergents is they required to use that surfactant. Usually in an aqueous system, detergents acts as in four ways. That is the wetting agent, then solubilizing, emulsifier, dispersant, and usually detergents passes these properties with which broaden their actions. So as we do, you will find that the detergents we use for the cleaning of the especially the SS vessel. So detergent it is having the very potency just to clean all type of the traces or all type of the residue from the surface of the vessel or utensils. So detergent is the main requirement for the cleaning of any utensil or equipment. So few times sometimes as I told earlier, there is a chemical reaction is required also required for removal of the traces of the from the vessels so or utensils. So oxidation and hydrolysis is also required. For oxidation generally sodium hypochlorite being used, sometimes the hydrogen peroxide being used for cleaning of the surface of the or removal of the residue from the equipment. So these are the things which required to be which can be used for the cleaning of the utensils. So the cleaning agent. So cleaning agents, detergents should be facilitated for the cleaning process and be easily removable. Detergents that have persistent residue such as the cationic detergents which adhere very strongly to the glass and are difficult to remove. should be avoided where possible. So you will find some cationic detergents also, which are not recommended to use in the pharma industry because they are quite rigid to the surface of the utensils, or especially for the glass. So cationic detergents are not required to be used in the pharma industry. Otherwise, the detergents are the best suitable cleaning agent for the pharma. The composition of the detergent should be known for the manufacturer and its removal during the rinsing or demonstrated. You should use a good quality of the detergent naturally. Acceptable limits for the detergent residue after cleaning should be defined. The possibility of the detergent breakdown should also be considered when validating the cleaning procedures. Detergent should be used or released by the quality control where possible, should meet the local food standard or regulations. In this way, we require to have the quality control of the detergent we are going to use. Generally, the TPOL being used as a detergent of the cleaning of the vessels or the equipment. So it is also recommended just to pass this or just release this detergent also from the quality control lab, as other materials are required to be released from the QC. The same way, cleaning agent is also required to be tested by quality control department. The examples of the few solvents listed, these are the aqueous cleaning. As I told, water is the best suitable aqueous cleaning agent. Then organic solvent, acetone, methanol, ethyl acetates. These are generally being used in the cleaning of the APIs, where the API is maximum use. So you require to clean the equipment with the organic solvents like acetone, methanol, or ethyl acetate, and some others maybe. Water surfactant, SLS or SDS, these are also very good. As I told, these are the detergents basically. Sodium lauryl sulfates is the mainly used, and it is also being one of the component in the TPOL we generally use in day routine cleaning of the utensils. So sodium lauryl sulfate is the one of the detergent component. So chillants, solvents, EDTA, NTA, SHMP, and base NOH or QH. Then acid, glycolic acid or citric acid is also used for the cleaning. And oxidant, as I told, sodium hypochlorite and the hydrogen peroxide being used for cleaning of the vessels or the utensils. So generally after this we just discuss about the cleaning validation program. So how do we proceed for the cleaning validation activity? So first of all, we need to have the selection of the cleaning level, which type of the cleaning level you are going to perform, you must knowing that. Then come to the cleaning method, which cleaning method and what cleaning method you are going to adopt. Then third one is the sampling method, what exactly the sampling of the from the utensils or equipment need to be taken, the third one. Then fourth one is the selection of the scientific basis of the contamination or limits, acceptance criteria. You must knowing that the acceptance criteria, the limit of detection and limit of quantification must be knowing to you, that this is the limit of detection and limit of quantification which is required to be performed for the cleaning validation. Then come to the worst case product. Generally the single product run facilities, there is a product specific cleaning procedure is there, but for the multiple products were run, so we just go for the worst case product. That means with the worst case is one which having the maximum and the maximum LD50, maximum macro value and everything. There are different criteria we will discuss later in this slide, in this PPT. So worst case product to be selected, then worst case equipment to be selected, then storage period after the cleaning or whole time is also required to be considered. How much time you are required to give to the utensils, we may also say it dirt equipment whole time study. So how much time being taken to the equipment just being dirty, तो कितना टाइम तक उसको डर्टी आपने रखा, ये भी आप क्लीनिंग वैलिडेशन के अंदर एक परफॉर्मेंस उसकी कर सकते हैं कि क्या कितना डर्ट इक्विपमेंट होल टाइम स्टडी है. देन सिलेक्शन ऑफ द एंटिकल मेथड एंड फाइनली द डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, the selection of the cleaning level. Now we comes to the, as I told, type A and type B. Type A is the minor, that this type of the cleaning that takes place between the two batches of the same product, or between different strengths of the same product. For minor cleaning validation is not required. Basically it is not required because we are dealing with the same product, only the strength of the product may be different. So since cross contamination is not an issue because you are dealing with the same product. and which having the different strengths. So cross contamination is not a big issue there. But for the major cleaning we do, this type of the cleaning takes place between the two products. In this case, validation of the effectiveness of the cleaning procedure in removing residues to the required level is mandatory. Now we come to the selection of the cleaning method: manual cleaning, semi-automatic procedures, automatic procedures, cleaning in place, cleaning out of place. This is required to be uh, considered while we are performing we are drafting any cleaning validation program. So as I told, a few of them are clear to us, but the cleaning in place, CIP and COP, these need to be discussed. So CIP, basically cleaning of the equipment, is performed in place without dis disassembling. We need not to disassemble any equipment or utensils. We are putting a CIP unit over there, and it will clean the whole equipment in such a way that every part of the equipment being cleaned, and traces of the previous product being removed or taken out from the equipment, and surfaces are properly cleaned. Then process may be controlled manually or automated program. It is depend upon the equipment you are having. Then very consistent and reproducible cleaning method. Naturally, it's a good, can be validated readily. Being a closed system, visual inspection of all components is difficult. So this one is the cleaning in place, CIP. Then we come to the cleaning out of place, COP method. So cleaning of the dismantled equipment is performed in central washing machine, or you may just having a washing bay in your area, or washing room or wash area in your facility. So you are dismantling all the components of the machines or utensils or whatever it is, and you are carrying these disassembling parts to the wash area, and there you are going to clean. So the washing machine or whatever it is, manually or the through washing machine, it requires the validation such as temperature, ultrasonic activity, cycle time, cleaning operation sequence, detergent quantity, etc. These are the requirements for the COP. So generally what the industry is following, that is COP, cleaning out of place. So in injections we generally do the CIP, and a few of the oral facility also do. But day routine life and in our own facility, we in a tablet section we are doing maximum COP. We are also having the CIP unit over there, but maximum we are following the COP, because we are having the wash area there, disassembling the all the equipment components of the equipment, and goes there and just clean manually. So now we come to the manual cleaning method. Difficult to validate, natural, because the man is involved in the cleaning, and it depends upon the attitude and the working skill of the person, how do he clean, or he or she clean the equipment. So difficult to validate. Most extensive and elaborate cleaning procedures are required. A high quality and extensive training program is required. Then the risk involved in the manual cleaning processes is taken care of with the following: and proper washroom designs with drying, protection and storage equipment, detailed cleaning SOP, training, qualification or cleaning operation operators are required to be there for proper manual cleaning validation if required to be performed. So then we come to the selection of the sampling method. This is one of the important thing. How do we select the sampling method? So generally there are the two types of the sampling methods are accepted in the industry. The most desirable in the direct method of the sampling the surface of the equipment. Another method being in use are rinse sampling. So first of all we will discuss the rinse sample. That is the indirect method. So this method is based on the analytical determination of the sample of the last rinsing solvent, that is generally water being rotate through all over the equipment, and the being collected in the some sampling vessels, bottles or any tube or anything. So used in the cleaning procedure, the volume of the solvent used for the last rinse must be known to allow for the quantitative determination of the contamination. So you are going to take the last rinse of the sample as a final sample, and that is to be analyzed in quality control lab. So what are the advantages of this rinse sample analysis indirect method? ईज ऑफ सैम्पलिंग, आप आराम से लेकर के निकाल सकते हैं, एक ड्रेन वाल से आप सैंपल कलेक्ट कर सकते हैं. देन इवेल्यूएशन ऑफ द एंटायर प्रोडक्ट कॉन्टेक्ट सर्फेसेज, एंड देन एसेसिबिलिटी ऑफ द ऑल इक्विपमेंट पार्ट्स टू द रिंजिंग सोलवेंट, क्योंकि आप रिंज कर रहे हैं तो आप हर कहीं पे भी जो डिफिकल्ट टू क्लीन एरिया है आप उसके अंदर भी उसको रोटेट करा सकते हो और वहाँ से भी आप एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सैंपल कलेक्ट कर सकते हो. Best best fitted or to sealed or large scale equipments and equipments which is not easily or routinely disassembled. जो बड़े इक्विपमेंट होते हैं जिनके अंदर काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें क्लब होती हैं, उनको डिसमेंटल करना डिफ़िकल्ट होता है, आप वहाँ से आप रिंज सैंपल निकालते हैं. और डिफ़िकल्ट टू मूव होते हैं तो वहाँ से आप उस चीज़ का रिंज सैंपल की आपको, ये एक एडवांटेज है. डिसएडवांटेज क्या, नो फिजिकल रिमूवल ऑफ द कंटेमिनेंट, फिजिकली कुछ नहीं निकलता है कि आप किसी एरिया को प्रॉपरली क्लीन कर सकते हैं. आप एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सैंपल लेते हैं और पूरी यूनिट को कहते हैं कि ये मेरी क्लीन है, क्योंकि आपने एक रिंज सैंपल, एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सैंपल ले लिया. तो नो फिजिकल रिमूवल ऑफ द कंटेमिनेंट, द rinsing solvent may not reach inaccessible or the occluded part of the equipment, and use of the orange solvent for water insoluble materials. So you are required to have proper solvent and select the solvent that is that may help just to remove and reduce or removal of all the traces of the previous product or contaminant. So then we come to the swab sampling. So first is the rinse sample, then we come to the swab sampling. So it is also known as the direct surface sampling method. This method is based, the rinse sample is indirect method and swab sample is the direct method. So note down this thing, it is a direct method. It is also known as a direct surface sampling method. This method is based on the physical removal of the residue left over in a place equipment after it has been cleaned and dried. A swab wetted with the solvent is rubbed over a previously determined sample surface area to remove any potential residue, and thereafter extracted into the known or volume of the solvent in which the contaminant active ingredient residue is soluble. The amount of the contaminant per swab is then determined by an analytical method of the adequate sensitivity. तो इसमें क्या करना है, आपको एक स्वैब स्टिक होती है, उससे जब पूरा आपका इक्विपमेंट क्लीन हो जाता है, उसके बाद ड्राई हो जाता है, तो आप एक मीडिया के थ्रू आप उसको रब करते हैं और उस रब को लेकर के आप जो है एक एरिया में वो भी बताऊंगा मैं कितने बाई कितने का 25/100 का एक स्क्वायर का एरिया लेंगे, उसके अंदर उसको रब करेंगे, रब करके उसको हम प्रॉपर डाइल्यूएंट में डाल करके उसको एनालिसिस करेंगे. सो ये डायरेक्ट मेथड कहा जाता है, जिसमें आप डायरेक्ट जो है सरफेस को टच कर रहे हैं, जबकि रिंज सैंपल वो इनडायरेक्ट है, क्योंकि आप वहां पे सरफेस को टच नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सैंपल कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं और ये एज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि ये सब जगह से होकर के आया होगा, इसमें हर जो भी चीजें वो होगा, लेकिन आप श्योर नहीं हो कि वो कहाँ हुआ होगा, गया होगा कि नहीं गया होगा, किस प्रेशर से गया होगा, क्या गया होगा, वहां पे अनसर्टेन है, इसलिए उसको बोला जाता है इनडायरेक्ट मेथड और ये बोला जाता है स्वैब सैंपलिंग बोली जाती है डायरेक्ट मेथड. सो व्हाट आर द एडवांटेजेस ऑफ द स्वैब सैंपलिंग? So advantages of the swab sampling are direct evaluation of the surface contamination, then insoluble or poorly soluble substances may be physically removed from the equipment or the surfaces, and hard to clean but accessible areas are easily incorporated into the final evaluation. जो आपके हार्ड टू क्लीन एरिया रहते हैं, आप कहते हैं कि भाई मेरा एक कोई कॉर्नर है, कोई वहां पे नहीं हो रहा, तो आप क्या कर सकते हैं, आप यदि वहां तक आपका हाथ पहुंचता है और आप कोई टूल है आपके पास, तो you can take the swab sample from over there so that to ensure that the cleaning was perfect and as it is as much as good as expected. Okay, so what are the disadvantage of this swab sampling? Now we will discuss. Difficult to implement in large scale manufacturing equipment. एक बहुत बड़ा इक्विपमेंट है तो आप उसके अंदर स्वैब सैंपलिंग कितने करोगे भाई, थक जाओगे, तो वहां से क्या, वहां पे आपको इनडायरेक्ट मेथड और रिंज का ही लेना पड़ेगा, या वहां पे भी आप ऐसे सैंपलिंग प्लान कर सकते हो कि भाई मैं रिंज भी लूंगा और स्वैब भी लूंगा, दोनों सैंपल लूंगा. सो एक्सट्रापोलेशन ऑफ द रिजल्ट्स ऑब्टेन्ड फॉर ए स्मॉल सैंपल सरफेस एरिया ऑफ द होल प्रोडक्ट और कॉन्टेक्ट सरफेस एरिया. अब इसमें क्या मैंने बताया ना कि आप कुछ जो है एरिया को सेलेक्ट करते हो कि भाई ये एरिया है और उस एरिया में इतने बाई इतने के अंदर मैंने स्वैब सैंपल ले लिया, लेकिन ये आप एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सैंपल इसमें भी ले रहे हो, आप इसमें भी ये नहीं कह सकते कि मेरा पूरा इक्विपमेंट जो है प्रॉपरली क्लीन हुआ है, तो कहीं ना कहीं जो रिंस के अंदर कंडीशन है वही घुमा फिरा करके स्वैब में भी हैं, क्योंकि स्वैब के अंदर भी आप कंप्लीट इक्विपमेंट का नहीं ले रहे हो, आपने पर्टिकुलर एक पोर्शन सेलेक्ट किया, उस पोर्शन को आपने स्वैब स्टिक से मॉप किया और मॉप करके उसको प्रॉपर डाइल्यूमेंट में डाल करके उसको एनालिसिस किया। तो कहने के लिए तो डायरेक्ट मेथड हो गया, लेकिन क्या है, एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव है, एक सैम्पलिंग बेस आप कर रहे हो कि आप कहते हो कि मेरी ये प्रॉपरली सैम्पलिंग हुई है। नाउ वी कम टू द सैम्पलिंग मेथड सेलेक्टेड, हाउ, कौन सा सेलेक्ट करना चाहिए और लोकेशन कैसे होनी चाहिए, नाउ वी विल डिस्कस दैट। So looking at the advantages and disadvantage of both the sampling methods, that is the swab sampling and the rinse sample, so generally the swab sampling method was selected or should be selected. Additionally, the cleaning procedure uses the water as a solvent, and we have to dosage form have active ingredients which is insoluble in water. So it is been expected that there may be few of the components or few of the ingredients which may be insoluble in water, may remain with the surface, may remain adhere with the surface while you are performing the cleaning. So swab sampling is the best direct method, we may say, or best method for sampling, or the sampling of the equipment for the cleaning point of view. So sampling location and the number of the samples, the sample locations are dictated by worst case condition. As I told you, need to prepare a product matrix, and based on the different requirements, you need to find out the worst case. This is the worst case product, this is the most difficult to clean, the product ingredient being used are highly are insoluble in water, LD50 is much higher, the Mako calculation is also quite big as compared to other products. So these are the criteria which need to be considered while we are performing the cleaning validation. So now we come to the different things. The number of the samples should be taken into the consideration, the equipment surface area, design, shape and operating principle, and the construction material. So it is required to have proper calculation of the number of the samples. So depending upon the size of the equipment, depending upon the usability, depending upon the accessibility of the operator for the cleaning of the equipment, you may decide the number of the samples taken from the each equipment. Okay. So sample surface area need to be also required to be taken. As I told, the swab sample, this is 25 square centimeter to a 100 square centimeter is the surface area generally being recommended. 25 square centimeter if we say, then 5 by 5, or 100 square centimeter we may say 10 by 10. So you require to put a square which having the length and the width 10 by 10, that is the 100 square centimeter, and if it is 5 by 5, then it is 25 square centimeter. So in this 25 square centimeter or 100 square centimeter, you need to take the swab sample. Then we come to the swab recovery study. A swab recovery study is performed to determine the ability of the swab to quantitatively remove the contaminant from the surface sample. अब इसमें क्या होता है कि रिकवरी बोल देते हैं, बहुत सारे लोग हैं कि रिकवरी है कि नहीं है। अब आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा कि जो आपने मेथड लिया है, आप क्या एक डेमो लेंगे, आपके यदि मेटेरियल ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ द इक्विपमेंट मान लीजिए SS316L है, तो आप क्या है, या टेफलोन है, तो आप एक टेफलोन का होता है और एक एसएस का है, आप एक प्लेट बनवाइए, 10 बाई 10 की बनवाइए या 5 बाई 5 की बनाइए, जो भी आपने सेलेक्ट किया है। आप उसके ऊपर एक जानबूझ करके एक डमी बनाइए और उसमें कहिए जैसे मेरा अल्फा बीटा आर्टिथर है, अल्फा बीटा आर्टिथर मेरा जब बैच बनेगा तो मेरा वो प्रोडक्ट वर्स्ट केस प्रोडक्ट आया, तो मैं उसमें तो करूंगा। रिकवरी स्टडी में क्या करना होगा कि मेरे को उसमें स्टैंडर्ड अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा और उसको उसी मेथड से क्लीन करना पड़ेगा जो मेथड में बड़े इक्विपमेंट में करने वाला हूं, वहां से उसे क्लीन करके और उसको टेस्ट करके देखना पड़ेगा कि भाई मैं 5 बाई 5 पर जब मैं स्टैंडर्ड लगाता हूं तो मेरा वाकई ही जब मैं क्लीन करता हूं तो रियल में मेरा वहां से रिकवर होता है कि नहीं होता है। यदि वही नहीं हो रहा है तो फिर पूरे इक्विपमेंट में करने का कोई, तो ये बेसिकली ये है आपकी रिकवरी स्टडी। सो नेक्स्ट, once the acceptance limit of the cleaning validation is determined, swab recovery study should be carried out. Product solution of the 50, 100 and 150% of the acceptable limit of the area are prepared and spiked on the model surface जैसे मैंने बताया ना कि आपकी 50 और 100 और 150% का जो है एक एक्सेप्टेबल लिमिट बना करके आप उस पर स्पाइक करना, मतलब आप नोइंगली इंटेंशनली लगा रहे हो और फिर उसमें से देख रहे हो कि आप कितना आपको रिकवर होता है। सरफेस इज ड्राइड अंडर जेंटल एयर फ्लो, आपने उसके ऊपर लगाया एपीआई और लगा करके उसको सुखा दिया, और सुखा करके सुखाया भी ऐसे नहीं, जेंटल एयर फ्लो, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए उठा करके और प्रेशर से उसको क्लीन कर दिया। जेंटल एयर फ्लो, surface is sampled as per the standard swabbing technique which will be used for the sampling, and the swab is tested as per the validated clinical procedure. So percentage recovery formula is there. There should be evidence that the samples are accurately recovered. The example of the recovery should be above 80% considered good, 50% if you are getting that is reasonable, and if the 50% is less then you are saying that is questionable. तो आपके जब रिकवरी है, रिकवरी में आपके 80% से ज़्यादा रिजल्ट आने चाहिए जो आप डमी के ऊपर मतलब एक तरह से कर रहे हैं, रिकवरी स्टडी कर रहे हैं। सो रिकवरी फैक्टर शैल बी टेकन इनटू द कंसिडरेशन व्हाइल कैलकुलेटिंग द एक्सेप्टेबल लिमिट ऑफ द रेजिड्यू। अब आपको पता है कि भाई SS316 सेल के ऊपर ये वाले प्रोडक्ट का मैं मैक्सिमम 80% 80 या 90% ही निकाल पाता हूँ, 100% नहीं निकल रहा। तो आप जब एक्सेप्टेबल लिमिट बनाओगे, जब आप क्राइटेरिया बनाओगे क्लीनिंग वैलिडेशन के लिए, तो आपको मालूम चलेगा कि भाई मेरे स्टैंडर्ड से मेरी इतनी निकल रही, तो मेरे को जब मैं होल इक्विपमेंट की क्लीनिंग करूंगा तो मेरे को इतनी लिमिट होनी चाहिए। Now we come to the cleaning validation approach. So method of the calculating acceptance criteria for residue of the API. So criteria number one is the dose criteria, which is basically based on the therapeutic daily dose. So it is generally been not been considered in the industry now. So it was the initial one that the dose criteria being followed for the cleaning validation. So we will directly come to the 10 ppm criteria that is being generally being followed all over industry. So not more than 10 ppm of the previous product shall appear on the next product. सीधी सी बात है, 10 ppm से ज़्यादा दूसरे वाले प्रोडक्ट के अंदर जाना नहीं चाहिए, ये ppm क्राइटेरिया था। देन विजुअल क्लीन क्राइटेरिया, नो quantity of the residue should be visible on the equipment or cleaning procedure is performed. Scientific rationale of the above such statement is that the active ingredient in most of the product are visible at approximately 100 microgram per square inch of the surface area. So below that level the residue are not visible. यदि आपको 100 माइक्रोग्राम, हेलो, so after visually clean criteria, we will discuss about the based on the toxicological data, that is the LD50. In this case, in which a therapeutic dose is not known, and the LD50 and MAC value calculation need to be taken. Then we come to the health based data, that is PDE. So maximum allowable carryover should be used upon the permitted daily dose exposure PDE. In the health based criteria, the principle of the macro calculation is based on the acceptable carryover for the product based on upon the PDE into the next product. So these are the criteria which are followed. Totally 5 criteria are there. uh, first one is the first one is hello first one is the dose criteria. Then the second one is the ppm criteria. Third one is the visually clean criteria. Fourth one is the based on the toxicological or LD50 criteria, and the fifth one is the health based data, that is PDE value based criteria. So now we come to the few of the definition. What are the which are the key concept for the cleaning validation? So health based exposure limits, HBELs, are there. A daily dose of a surface below which no evidence effects are anticipated by any route, even if the exposures occurs for a lifetime, or required for the cleaning validation of the hazardous products in shared facilities. So derived from the structured scientific evaluation of the relevant data. So health based exposure having these are the key aspects for the health based HBLs. So now we come to the no observable adverse effect level, NOEL value. So NOEL value is the must be established for all the critical effects identified. The NOEL is the highest tested dose at which no adverse effect is observed. If NOEL is not calculated, the lowest observed effect, LOEL, may be considered for the calculation. So determined for the toxicology expert. So you need to have taken this data from some key person or some toxicological or medical department person. So then we come to the PDE or ADE. PDE is the permittable daily exposure and the ADE is the acceptable daily exposure. So PDE represents a surface specific dose that is unlikely to cause the adverse effect on the individual if exposed, or at a below this dose every day for a lifetime. So it is the PDE value which need to have been calculated with the help of the toxicologist. And the same way the ADE also represent the dose that the unlikely to cause adverse effect if an individual is exposed by any route or at below this dose. This is acceptable for the everyday for the lifetime. So PDE or ADE, these are almost the same terminology being used for the health based approach. So MACO is what exactly the MACO mean? That is the maximum allowable carryover, and it is mathematically calculated as the quantity of the residue from a previous product when carried over into the different product that can represent potential harm to the patient. So toxicity, pharmacology, mode of administration, batch size, and equipment train which is used for the manufacturing of the product being considered as a safety factor for the macro calculation. It is generally being followed. So risk based approaches they also there, health based equipment limits are there. Good knowledge of the management ICH-Q10 you must having, the risk based approach ICH-Q9 you must knowing. So risk assessment for the operations, cross contamination strategy, and the bracketing and cleaning validation you must having. Group typically based on the equipment train, cleaning procedure, dosage form, rational explain to the SOP, cleaning validation documents, groupings, everything you must be knowing here these things. So now we will discuss about the worst case determination. So the worst case determination is a crucial step for defining the contamination limits. So worst case is basically batch size we need to discuss. We need to consider then product solubility, product contact area, product toxicity, release mechanism, then the cleanability and the product potency. And in addition to that, we also consider the solubility of the API used in the product for determination of the worst case. So what is the actually the sampling plan being followed? So sampling plan you require to have some equipment used in the manufacturing. For individual equipments you need to prepare some ID location for the sampling. For example, you are having the RMG. For RMG you may have different locations for the sampling of the rinse sample and as well as the swab sample. So in RMG you will find 3 to 4 or 5 places which are hard to clean and you require to take some swab sample from there. So you put some ID to these locations and put these locations here for your method, for your easy convenient just to trace the analytical results you find whenever you are going for the cleaning validation analysis, sample analysis basically for the uh, cleaning validation performed. So worst case matrix, this is the template for the worst case matrix. Here you will find the generic name, then the unit size in milligram and strength of the medicine, basically then the composition active, each ml or per gram, the composition, then the solubility in the water is the factor need to be mentioned over here, then the strength, then toxicity, then NOEL value, then batch size, then nature here we will say that difficult to clean, easy to clean. So you would need to find if some APIs are viscous in nature and they are very quite having a good bonding with the SS vessel. So you may say that the nature is like that, it is a viscous and difficult to clean. So you had to write over here that it is viscous and difficult to clean. Then the best size of the proposed API you are taking, then again you require to hardest to clean, then the experience from the production or the operator you need to interview and discuss that this material this product from the SS surface is easy to clean or medium to clean or difficult to clean. So you require to put this information in this template. So after this you had to go for some other that is a macro calculation format. You would need to having the safety factor, then the maximum minimum therapeutic doses, and this is the calculation sheet. So we'll discuss separately. Then the equipment matrix, all the equipment train need to be mentioned over here. All the equipment is used in the formulation from dispensing to final stages, blister and everything where the product is in contact with the environment. So capacity of that, then the ID marks and the make and the equipment surface area, quantity of the equipment used, total equipment surface area. So you had to involve the engineering person just to calculate the total equipment area, and then the 10% is extra being taken just you may have some calculation error or some that is also a worst case for the each and every equipment, and the total area need to be calculated. So based on this, then you go for the product matrix, the same way as the worst case matrix you had determined. Then you go for the chemical analysis for the different swab or rinse samples. You must knowing the equipment must be clean, dry, odorless or colorless and free from the any visible particulate. So what are the criteria for the visual inspection? That should be clean, dry, odorless, colorless, visual, and the checked by any person and verified by another person. For the rinse sample too, different sample location, what is the macro calculated, what are the batch numbers being taken, what are the maximum results you get, you had to mention over here. Then the same way you are to going for the some other equipments also, different equipments, bacteria and fungus you are going to take for the swab analysis. Then the same way this is applicable for same. Now we come to the cleaning validation. So cleaning validation, the worst case process conditions you must be knowing, the campaign length, number of the batches or time elapsed. So it is generally being recommended for all the industry that the batches required to be taken in a campaign production. Campaign production means you are going to manufacture a batch one by one of the same product. If you are having a requirement of the 10 batches in a month, so you try to pursue this matter with the PPIC or other supply chain person that these 10 batches need to be taken at a one time in one slot, so that one batch can be manufactured at a time, then immediately the second batch can be manufactured. That will elapse the time of the cleaning, and the proper assurance of the cleaning will also be taken, and the minimum cross contamination will be there. So campaign production is generally being recommended for the to avoid any elapsed time during the cleaning. Then the dirt whole time you must having the detail that the equipment you are taking the sample of the micro after 12 hours, after 24 hours, after 3 days, after 7 days. So you must knowing the dirt equipment whole time study to be performed. Minimum limits of the manual cleaning you are to calculate. Time for the cleaning steps need to calculate. Temperature and the CIP programs had to be evaluated. So then we come to the hazards. Hazards is the meaning for the basically the what which are very high potential risk for the patient safety. So the LD50, repeat toxicity, carcinogenicity, development toxicity or genotoxicity or reproducive toxicity, these are the things which generally develop the hazard. Or on the same way we are discussing for the PD health based approach I discussed earlier. So the what is worst case product? The worst case product, the product selected from the group of the product that represents a great risk carry over the contamination of the other products made in the same equipment by virtue of the its solubility, toxicity and dose or the contamination of these factors. वर्स्ट केस प्रोडक्ट क्या है कि आपको एक ही इक्विपमेंट चेन के ऊपर, एक ही मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वेसल के ऊपर सपोज करिए आपको मल्टीपल प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने हैं, तो आपको उन प्रोडक्ट्स में से ये देखना पड़ेगा इनमें वर्स्ट केस प्रोडक्ट क्या है. वर्स्ट केस प्रोडक्ट को देखने के लिए आपको करना पड़ेगा कि इसके अंदर जो एपीआई जो कंपोनेंट यूज हुआ है एपीआई वो कितना उसकी LD50 क्या है, उसकी सोलिबिलिटी क्या है. जो वर्स्ट केस होगा, जो मतलब जिसकी सोलिबिलिटी सबसे कम होगी, जो हेल्थ बेस के अकॉर्डिंग सबसे ज़्यादा हाई रिस्क पे होगा, उसको आप वर्स्ट केस मानोगे. यदि आपने अपना क्लीनिंग मेथड उस वर्स्ट केस के ऊपर एप्लीकेबल कर दिया और वहां से आपको रिजल्ट सेटिस्फैक्ट्री मिल गए, तो आप बाकी के जो ग्रुप के अंदर जितने भी प्रोडक्ट्स हैं आप ये एज्यूम कर सकते हैं कि उनके लिए ये क्लीनिंग प्रोसीजर एप्लीकेबल और वैलिडेटेड है, क्योंकि आपने जो मैक्सिमम वर्स्ट केस था प्रोडक्ट का वो आपने इवेल्युएट कर लिया और उसके ऊपर आपने अपने क्लीनिंग मेथड को वैलिडेट कर दिया. तो ये बेसिक अप्रोच है वर्स्ट केस की. Then we, as a definition of the LD50, LD50 is usually expressed in mass substance administered per unit mass of the test subject. typically as the milligram of the substance per kilogram. How much milligram is there in a kilogram is required to be calculated as the LD50. Then critical effects are there: clinical, non-clinical, therapeutic effects, adverse effects. Step 3, Noel value you must knowing based on the step 1 to evaluation requires the toxicological expertise. Definition as a milligram per kg per day. Then how do the PD value calculated? The Noel value into the weight adjustment divided by F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. These are the different factors. So this all information is not collected by the QA. So QA required to take help from the medical division or the toxicologist, who puts all this information and give you a statement that this ingredient having this PD value. So from taking this, you are going to calculate the worst case of ever from our product matrix. So AD value approach is there, the formula is same. Then the macro calculation is there, safety factor and everything is there. So this all about the, these are the reference TGA health based, then the ResearchGate and the pharma tutor are the references taken for the preparation of this training slide. So this all about the cleaning validation. It is a basically it is more and less being understood when we do it practically. So basic concept is like that: you had to perform a cleaning every day. You are going to perform a cleaning, but to assure that the cleaning is perfect or not perfect, or it is for the intended use or not, so that you may assure your product is quality wise is okay, there is no cross contamination in the product, no previous to product traces being carry over in this product. So you getting this assurance from cleaning validation, you are going to propose and give the line clearance for the other products. So it is basically more or less a assurance or a confidence for the pharma or QA personnel, how to get the confidence on the product in the facility. Okay.